Alright, guys, I'm going to be sharing rules my parents had for me and my sisters growing up. And by parents, I mean mainly my mom. So, my parents were pretty strict, not gonna lie, but I would say we turned out fine. So, we were not allowed to go to sleepovers. Um, I was never allowed to go to a sleepover as a child. I understand now as an adult, but as a child, I was like, why can't I have a sleepover? And my mom was just concerned about our safety, obviously. So that was one of our rules. Then another thing that my parents did, my mom made me and all of my sisters, we had to, when we got to high school, participate in a sport or an activity all 4 years. So me and my sisters all had to stick with that sport. Excuse me. Whatever sport or activity we had to do it for all 4 years. We had to be in a some sort of club after school. I think my mom just wanted me and my sisters to be out of the house most days. But to be quite honest, in high school, I was at school for like 12 hours, like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. all 4 years. I don't know how I did that for 4 years, but I did it. And it was my normal. It was normal for me to after school be after. So in the fall, I did marching band, but I was in color guard. And the other thing is, if one sibling did something, we all had to do it. Me and my sisters are all like stair steps in age. So at one point, well, except for my older sister, but we were all at school at the same time. So if one of us had to stay after, we all had to. So my mom kind of forced us all to participate in the same activity, except for like very few. So in the fall, we all had to be in the marching band because my mom was not about to make multiple trips picking us up. And then in the spring, we all did track and field, and then we all did cheerleading at different times, whatever. So we were very active. We had to be involved in a club, sport, something. And that was even a rule when we were younger. So I've done just about every sport. We weren't allowed to quit things just because we didn't like it. We had to see it all the way to the end. Another thing my mom did is she paid us for good grades. But this one is kind of different. So she didn't pay us per A. If we had all A's, our freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, we got paid for having all A's. And we had to have all A's to get paid. So I think there was 1 year I didn't have it. I want to say like my sophomore year, I had one B for one semester in chemistry. But if we got the whole year with like A's, we got paid and it went up. So like I would say it was like $250 for like your freshman year, and then it went up to like 1,000 basically. So you had the whole year, to make good grades, and then you got paid for it basically. I wouldn't say I was necessarily motivated by that, but it did help. Me and my sisters are all really smart, so we always did really well in school. I feel like I didn't really care that much about my grades that much, but school wasn't hard for me. So this isn't really a rule, but this is just a funny story to let you know who my mom was. Oh, actually, this was the worst rule ever. If my mom thought it was a great idea to make me and my sisters do push-ups if I don't know, if we were like acting up when we were out at a store, she would literally make us drop and do 10 push-ups. And she used to get compliments from other people. Me and my sisters would be like mad as heck. And people were like, oh, great parenting, making them do push ups. So that was kind of annoying. That was something my mom enjoyed, but we hated. We also did get punished sometimes with running miles. And that probably did make me not like running as much. But also, there was 1 year me and my sister missed the bus, and as our punishment, our mom made us walk to school for a week. And, in hindsight, we actually did. It was like, I don't remember. I want to say it took us like maybe like 30 minutes to walk to school. We weren't super far. Like, I could run. We used to go on runs like to the school from where our old house was, but Me and my sister actually walked to school, and I looked back at that. I'm like, if we were smart, we would have just walked down to the next bus stop and got on there. But we we weren't that smart, I guess, when we were younger. So that was funny. And I'm trying to think what else. My parents were strict. You know, we weren't allowed to have people over most times. If we went to someone's house, we couldn't stay over. My mom needed to know their moms. Um, we weren't allowed to go to parties at night. Weren't allowed to like do a lot of things. Like me and my sisters honestly were good kids. We really didn't get in a lot of trouble growing up. We made good grades, stayed out of trouble, all of that. So I would say most of us turned out great. I don't know why I said most of us. We all turned out great. Good, sorry.